Good evening, fine individuals. Tonight we're going to begin the first in a sprawling and comprehensive series known as the Martial Magic series, where here at the Doktor Zeero Free Magic Secrets show, we're going to investigate all the magic secrets of various martial arts traditions. So the first that we're going to speak of today is perhaps the most misunderstood and misrepresented, and that is one known as ninjutsu. And furthermore, its whole spiritual process, which is basically like a form of full integrated alchemy of psychological, spiritual, and bodily alchemy as far as other reasons, but it's called Ninpō. It's the entire term that would encompass the spirit of what these folks are about. And again, extremely misunderstood. So before we roll into anything else, including that, I just want to a few quick things. When you think of a ninja, you think of the black suit and all that, the one-man army and the one-man possible terrorist psycho. Well, this is not what this is about at all. This comes from, we're talking about feudal Japan, and we're going to be learning about the lessons of Hattori Hanzo, who you may remember as being referred to in the Kill Bill films. He's a real historical character. He was known as the demon Hattori Hanzo, and he was one of the master technique artists and important. He was like Black Ops of his time. We're going to study his general people and his lessons in philosophy and different tactics and magical things that he accomplished, as well as the Togakure Ninja. Oh, yes. It's going to be Togakure Ninja. We're going to study them. You know, when you see the films and they have the tiger cat claws with the iron hands that has the three like inverted like Wolverine claws and they climb walls like that? Those guys. The ones that learned their techniques. It's a very long story, of course, but part of the infusion is studying crows and ravens and how they move. And it has this whole thing to do with the Tengu. I know there's a film where one of these Tengu creatures is in. I can't remember the name of it. It's a fairly popular horror film that came out a long time ago. But aligned with the sort of spirits of nature, the Shinto spirits of nature, and the Tengu, the dark crow raven spirits, and operating much as ravens and spirits do. And also understand that the vast majority of ninja, they weren't fighters. They were all spies. And they worked with a hive mind. In the modern day, we see this sort of hive mind perpetuated in groups like the guys with the white masks that do, hacktivist things. And we see that when people, also street protesters that have gone further and further with it, and as they become more seasoned veterans at this activity, they look around and they know how it all moves and they flow like a flock. They come in, they just know what to do. It's the psychic streak. It has to be understood and felt, and when you're a part of it and live through that, you see it all happen. So we're talking about the hive mind. So we're talking about a whole group of people, and they were anarchists in their own region that were cut off from the rest of feudal Japan, and they were mountain ascetics, where all of the forms of magic that they learned, the strongest form of everything you would think Magic the Gathering, the 5 manas, and then also in the pentagram. And the importance of Chinese magic and what we're going to go into here is in Western magic, we have the regular pentagram, of course, and we got the 4 elements, and the 5th element is spirit. Well, the Chinese pentagram, the Japanese pentagram, it does 5 forms of elements, and the 6th element is the spirit, the animating principle. So basically, you could say the Star of David as in the earliest Babylonian sort of sense. And they don't look at it as such. And also the ninja, their whole mystical prowess comes from number magic. And it's numbers 0, 1 through 9, and then also basically a 10, which is just called something else. So they exemplify the Kabbalah and the Tarot and Pythagorean number magic. And also the roots of a ninjutsu go back even further in a long chain that all goes back to the Vedic civilization of Indo-European region. And this is where many people feel the Druids came from, because the Brahmins are basically like the Druids. They're the same sort of thing. So basically the ninja mysticism, they will never say magic, because the whole point of ninjutsu is deception. Always fool people every time, because it doesn't matter. if what they think or not. It doesn't matter. The only thing that is controlling the situation. So they will never say magic, but it is. And if you actually understand, which I'm going to try to do through some lessons and some speaking here, we're going to study Hattori Hanzo and Meisaki Hatsumi. And we're also going to study some Stephen K. Hayes. And we're going to take a look into that and basically what is called Oriental mysticism, but is hardline magic, hardcore magic. And this person speaking, of course, Mr. Doktor Zeero, person or such, did not understand what ninjutsu was all about until a couple years ago. Just post COVID land. Once COVID land hit, about a month into it, month and a half, Doktor Zeero got dumped into a massive pile of books, which changed his whole perception of everything forever. And I am here to explain some of these to you. So this is just a rough beginning and a quick lesson about some ninja philosophy before we head on. And there will be many, many more martial magic sessions. There's already been recorded, and they will be featured all the way until April. There will be sessions about Aikido as well, and some talk about judo and archery and boxing and simply breaking through the brick with your hand and how to control earth magnetics, sort of, and siphon it, and about the 1 point. Attuning with the universe, thought, word, and deed as a single tool of accomplishment for the ninja. Kuji-in. We can observe that Japan's historical ninja are characterized by their thorough and scientific approach to analyzing and solving problems, and yet they are at the same time closely associated with highly occult and spiritual practices. From one viewpoint, this is really no contradiction at all. Ninja combat training tends to stress the pragmatic physical aspects in precise and rational ways, with little or no attention paid to artistic or aesthetic considerations. But the ninja of old also realized that a lot of their successes came through influences other than scientific pre-detailing of operations to be undertaken. Some persons would call these subtle influences luck, coincidence, or accident, but the ninja learned that a rational and logical approach had to rationally and logically include all factors that could possibly influence an outcome. Ninjutsu's reliance on the practice of Mikyo stressed the truth of the concepts that there is no such thing as coincidence, there are no accidents, and luck is just unguided or unchanneled power playing itself out in our daily affairs. This conviction that spirituality is a legitimate and working part of reality comes from a heightened sensitivity resulting from continuously dwelling on the border edge between life and death. To a veteran ninja who has lived through countless skirmishes against overwhelming odds and has seen too many unexplainable happenings and miraculous twists of fate, there is nothing more rational than taking all possibilities into account. From the mystic teachings of the Mikyo doctrine came the ninja's insight into the workings of the universe. And from the application of this understanding came the ninja's personal power. The compendium of wisdom teachings, known as Mikyo, had its foundations in the esoteric tantric lore of India, Tibet, and China. In the early part of the 9th century, Japan was introduced to these concepts through the research of traveling monks, such as Saicho and Kukai, who traveled to China as young men in order to study with learned sages there. Mikyo teachings of power and magic also came to Japan through the work of wandering monks, shamans, and hermit priests who fled their native China after the fall of Tang dynasty. In later centuries, the same teachings underwent a stylization and elaboration in their native India and Tibet, and were transformed into a religion of worship and adoration of a spectrum of gods that represented the varying levels of consciousness in the universe. In feudal Japan, however, the teachings were transmitted as a body of knowledge that stressed the power inherent in every individual person. Not merely a religion, but a working set of principles or universal laws, the teachings of Mikyo were taken to heart and practiced rigorously by the Yamabushi, Seinen, and Gyoja mountain warrior ascetics, the segment of Japanese society that would later become the forerunners of the ninja. In a series of brutal religious and territorial wars, these people were hunted down for holding views contrary to the state religion at the time. The need for defense of their mountain wilderness homes, families, and beliefs soon developed, and thus was born the incredible shadow warrior of Japan, known as the ninja. In modern Japan, the Mikyo teachings are now an elaborate religion, considered to be the tantric or esoteric side of Buddhism. The methods of Saicho became known as the Tendai sect over the centuries, while the teachings of Kukai, later known by the posthumous name of Kobo Dayashi, or Great Teacher of the Universal Laws, which were perhaps closer to the original Shugenja beliefs of the ninja, became formalized as Shingon Buddhism. These forms of Mikyo, with their ornate trappings and complex rituals, are not representative of the original Mikyo of the ninja's ancestors. As ninja today, they are not interested in or associated with any religion. However, the original universal principles of causation, power, and enlightenment, which later became watered down to result in the countless religions of mankind, are of great interest to us. The practice of power generation through Mikyo involves the combined use of mantra, sacred or charged words, mandalas, schematic pictorial renderings of the structure of the universe for the directing of concentration, and mudra, energy channeling hand posturings, for the total coordination of all the energies of the ninja personality. Bringing together thought, word, and deed in harmonious alignment, where each quality complements the other, is seen to be the key to working one's will in the world. This power is referred to as Sanmitsu, or 3 secrets of Mikyo spiritual power. Japanese word Nenriki, Sanskrit concept, mandala, English equivalent, concentrated intention, symbolizes the will. Senmitsu, thought. Now the Japanese word Juman, it means mantra, means power words, the intellect, and word. And then for deed, we have katsu-in, katsu-in. The Sanskrit concept is mudra. The English equivalent are hand posturings. Symbolizes physical action. So the will to thought, intellect to word, and physical action to deed. Ninpō Mikyo, the ninja's spiritual power teaching, provides 2 distinctive views of the structure of the universe, each view depicted in a highly symbolic diagram known as a mandala. The 2 mandalas represent totally opposite perspectives and are used in conjunction with each other to inspire the insight necessary to capture the significance of why the universe operates the way it does. In greatly oversimplified terms, the universal process can be viewed from the inside out, concentrating on the physical manifestations of creation and working toward an understanding of the universal laws. Effect explains the cause, or the universe can be regarded from a viewpoint of total scope, concentrating on gaining a knowledge of the universal laws and working toward an understanding of the intricate interworkings of all aspects of daily life. Cause explains the effect. These are the dual faces of Zeero, the tarot trump Zeero. They might not see it this way necessarily, but it is there. So to continue, the essence of the material world is captured in the Taizokai mandala, the schematic rendering of the quote-unquote matrix realm. Matrix is used here in its original concept of womb, or place in which something originates. From this approach, we come to realize that we all exist within the universe. Each star, planet, human, animal, thing, word, thought, indeed everything on which a label could be hung, is a part of all the parts that interact to make up what we know as the universe. All of us and all our actions are seen and acknowledged as existing within the inside of the God, just as the God is conversely seen to exist within each of us. As a means of approaching enlightenment, the Taizokai mandala structure and symbols are studied for the clues necessary to bring about a realization of the universal laws that are manifested in the ways that daily worldly life unfolds. Through personal experience of our individual consciousness operating at different levels, the greater perspectives inherent in the lessons of life are brought into focus. We can come to see that the universe is vast enough and complex enough to contain all the contradiction and paradox that mankind's limited vision seems to observe. The essence of the spiritual world is likewise captured in the Kango Kai mandala, a schematic rendering of the diamond realm. The diamond is considered to be the symbol of multifaceted clarity, brilliance, and hardness, the jewel that is the highest possible refinement of form for unmanifested pure knowledge, spirit, or ultimate truth. And also observe white diamond and black diamonds in the Tree of Life and the Tree of Death diagram. Those are important magic secrets, and it's funny that they seem to be reflected here as we see. From the Congo Kai approach, we came to realize that all existence is merely the form that our awareness give to the universal laws in operation around us. What we would see as or believe to be reality is our subjective realization of actuality, or that which is in action itself, or that which acts in its purest form. By transcending and leaving behind the material world through the mystic's process and going directly to the experience of the universal law itself, we can attain the state of Shin Shin Gun, or the mind and eyes of God. It's Shin 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 Gan, from which we can look back into the material world with a heightened, enlightened perspective. Again, the Fool. In the Ninpō Mikyo Dojo, or training hall for the learned of the ninja's secret knowledge, the mandala symbolic representations are hung on both sides of the open hall. From the viewpoint of the position of power in the dojo, the central point of focus opposite its entrance, the Congo Kai mandala is on the right and the Taizokai mandala is on the left. These positions would, of course, be just the reverse for students in the dojo, who face the central point of focus rather than look out from it. The mandalas are hung vertically, although their true concept is mentally laid out on a horizontal plane, creating the effect felt when looking at a city map tacked up on the wall. When considering one of the two mandalas in meditation, the practitioner can study each particular mandala in light of the purpose of the unique piece of artwork. When contemplating the Taizokai mandala of the Matrix realm, the ninja looks within him or herself for an understanding of the material world. It is a falling inward process of going to the center of our very being and thereby reaching the center of the universe. When contemplating the Congo Kai mandala of the Diamond realm, the ninja transcends him or herself for an understanding of the world or universal laws. This is a lifting outward process of leaving the self behind to attain a cosmic vision of totality. The two practices must complement each other for balanced personal development. Undue emphasis on either of these two realms will produce a warped personality. Those who would concentrate exclusively on the material realm will become overly mechanical and technical in their outlooks, and their ninja art will become nothing more than a mere mechanistic system of physical combat devoid of morality, spirit, and life. Those who would concentrate exclusively on the realm of pure knowledge, or magic perhaps, will lose touch with reality around them, and their ninja art will become nothing more than an empty ideal or intellectual exercise devoid of practicality, relevance, and energy. Words and actions are useless without the guidance of thought behind them. Direction is necessary. The power of concentrated intention is a subtle lesson picked up through determined perseverance in coming to a personal understanding of the significance of the two mandalas. This is a first step and is referred to as tempering the will. The power of the will is then more firmly established through spoken vows that plant the intentions firmly in the realm of the physical by giving them the reality of vibratory presence. The ninja's thoughts are creations that become real things once they have been given physical sounds to carry them out into the world. The doctrine of Tantra, which teaches methods of using the powers of the physical world to bring about personal enlightenment, asserts that the process of producing sound epitomizes the ever-going processes of creating the universe. The first tangible manifestations of the Absolute were made in the form of sounds or vibrations. The tantric teachings of Ninpō Mikyo preserve the symbols of these fundamental vibratory rates in shuji, or seed characters, the written form of Sanskrit used between the 4th and 6th centuries during the Gupta dynasty in India. This Siddham script was introduced into China for the writing of tantric formulas by the Indian patriarchs teaching there, and was later carried to Japan by the monk Kukai in the 9th century. This writing form has since been preserved by the esoteric tradition in Japan, of which the ninja played a major part in the 12th through 16th centuries. The Jumon mantras, or charged words of power, of the ninja's Mikyo are sounds or phrases used to give vibratory reality to the intentions of the ninja's will. In most instances, the Jumon vows are uttered in the original language transmitted from the Himalayas, although some of the vows are voiced in classical Japanese. The Jumon are intentionally preserved in words that have no meaning in daily routine conversation so that the ninja can express his or her pure determination through sound forms that cannot be watered down or lessened in intensity by reflecting daily social interaction. The sounds imply interaction on a level much higher than a conversation between two intellects. The original sounds are also thought to be purer or closer to the specific rates of vibration that will harmonize with and bear effect on the other vibrations that constitute physical reality, sights, sounds, feelings, and so forth. Since it is the actual resonant sound itself, and not the literal meaning of the words that makes the Jumon effective, no attempt can be made in this volume to give instruction in the use of the voiced mantras. It could also be argued that the entire esoteric formula of how to set the mind, tune the vibrations of the voice, and engage the body should not appear in specific notation in a published volume. Those individuals who feel it their destiny to become part of the ninja tradition will seek out the teacher that they need for such advanced training in the total power of ninjutsu. For the purpose of information only, it is possible to grasp a small experience of the Ninpō Mikyo Jumon through the vocalization of two primary sounds, one blending into the other. Open your mouth and throat as wide as you can, creating the sensation of a yawn. Tightening your stomach slowly, breathe out through your mouth while producing a full-throated sighing from deep within your body. It should sound like a breathy, resonant ah. Continue the sound and bring your lips together, stretching them over your parted teeth to close your mouth while maintaining your jaws in open position. The tone should now be a buzzing, vibrant mmm. Continue the original sound and bring your teeth together firmly, compacting your tongue against the inside surfaces of your clenched teeth. The tone should now be a level, vibrating mmm. Allow the sound to die away slowly as you expel the last of your breath. This series of sound groupings, blended into one continuous word, quote-unquote, is considered to be the ultimate universal mantra. The majority of the ninja Jumon vows begin with this sound, much in the fashion of the universal Amen that ends in the hymns and chants of the Christian faith. One voiced repeatedly in synchronization with a large group of other people in a cool, darkened room to reduce central distractions. The Aum mantra blends the personal breathing rhythms, voice qualities, and spiritual intensities of each individual. When practiced with people who are thoroughly enjoying themselves while not taking themselves overly seriously, the resultant effect can be quite awesome. The third area of knowledge requiring for mastery of Ninpō Mikyo's Sanmitsu, 3 secrets of power, is the body's incorporation and the task of creating a reality from the intention formulated by the will and expressed through the voice as a vow. The kuji-in finger entwining hand seals or ninjutsu stem from the mudra hand positions of Indian, Tibetan, and Chinese esoteric lore and represent the channeling of subtle energies, the transmitting of lessons of wisdom, and the affording of psychic protection to self and others. In the electrochemical makeup of the human body, a collection of electropolar channels, meridians, run through the tissues of the body. The hands and feet are thought to contain the sensitive ends and turnaround points of the channels. Ninjutsu's kuji-in, 9-syllable mudras, and their variations comprise a power-generating systems based on a balancing out or directing of energy through the hands. In this system, each hand and finger symbolizes a specific attribute to the body's makeup. Different energies of the personality are represented by element and structure codes. Concentration and stress on the various energies could result in an alternation of the body's mood, bearing and predominant capability at any given moment. And as you see, this leads into acupuncture. And you should look into Amatsu acupuncture, which is the acupuncture of the ninja. Ninpō Mikyo's Kuji Goshinho 9-syllable method of protection is one of several mudra, mantra, or mandala combinations perfected by the ninja for increased sensitivity to the workings of all around him. Effected before going into action or entering a threatening place, the 9 hand poses and syllables work to sharpen the ninja's senses as a means for increasing the likelihood of success. Each of the 9 hand poses, when used separately, has its own unique mantra sentence and mind-setting procedure, which are not included here. It should be noted that the physical examples of the hand positions that follow in different illustrations that only Dr. Zeero have, are illustrations only. They are by no means complete lessons in themselves. Merely folding the fingers and making a sound with the voice, attempting these at home will not produce any recognizable effect on the personality. Anyone wishing to develop a control over the subtle energies of the body must devote a considerable amount of study and concentration to build up skill in the Shuji-in process. The crucial mind setting and breathing routines have not been included, as they must be guided personally by a competent teacher of Ninjutsu. This series of hand postures and vows must be sought out, as I said, on its own. So we got Rin, Pyo, To, Sha, Kai, Jin, Retz, Sai, Zen is the Juman vow that accompanies the weaving of the fingers for each of these 9 steps, or levels of power, at least from my fool American way of reading this. Each of the syllables has its own hand pose, which in turn has its own Juman chant or vow that calls upon a particular personification of some cosmic aspect or deity for assistance in directing power. In effect, the ninja selects a goal of emulation and then becomes the goal in thought, word, and deed by attuning his or her body, voice, and mental imagery with the desired outcome. The entire personality then takes on the feel that the goal has already been accomplished and is merely awaiting the proper time to physically manifest itself. So as you see from this first lesson, it is very clear the absolute mixture of what we would call magic or the occult with ninjutsu and other martial arts, which we will detail further. So signing off, this is Dr. Zeero from the Dr. Zeero Free Magic Secret Show. Please hit the subscribe button. Please let people know I exist. I can't really promote myself. I just gotta anyway, no, I'm a ninja. I'm a ninja fighting for the future. Anyway, later folks.